welcome back to AP&HD. I'm Ashley. So fun fact, I usually start my videos off. May is actually Huntington's Disease Awareness Month. So for the month of May, I kind of have a project that I want to start working on. If you want to be a part of it, let me know. Real simple, real easy, and I'm going to release it at the end of the month. I've always wanted to do something for HD Awareness Month. This year was a little different, being that you know, I'll talk about this in a little bit, but something happened this year that didn't happen the past couple of years with me and my HD results. So this year, I really just wanted to do something that was meaningful and impactful. So if you want to be a part of it, let me know. So for this episode, I want to talk about my testing process and how that went. I talked a little bit about it the last video about my mom and her process, and starting to talk to the doctor and making the decision to possibly get tested. So for whoever doesn't know me, um, I did end up getting tested for Huntington's disease. For many people who do know me, many people already know my story. I try to talk about it a lot because a lot of things went wrong, and I want to make sure that I can advocate and talk about the right way to do things. I know I mentioned in the last video what a process looks like, a normal process for HD testing looks like. Many people go through the Center of Excellences. They talk with a geneticist, with a social worker, a counselor. They talk about, is this the right time? Why are you doing it? That's the first session. You have another session before you actually get your results. You have the opportunity if you want. I think you have to pay some extra money though to go under a different name for your testing process. Before you get your results, you're supposed to talk to a social worker, geneticist, therapist, counselor, just to make sure it's the right time. So there's a lot of steps to the testing process that I unfortunately didn't have, and neither did my mom in her testing process. So a little bit from the last video, I was starting to ask the doctor, the neurologist, some questions about, me and possibly wanting to get tested. And she was saying, you have a daughter, you should do this. So I decided to get tested. After I left my mom's appointment where she brought it up to me, I just kind of stuck in my back of my head, just should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? I reached out to my PCP a couple weeks after my mom's results, and I told her what I wanted to do. And she was a little weary about writing me a script because nobody's ever requested a script for HD test. So because of that, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna reach out to the neurologist. I know she'll get it to me. So decided to do that. I went and I got the script. I went to a local blood draw facility on my lunch break at work. I didn't tell anybody I was doing it. I knew it was gonna be like a real quick thing, in and out, just get my test result or go get my blood. And the place that my doctor told me I should go to, or the doctor that I had at the time told me to, it was a really, really rough process. It wasn't on the phlebotomist. She's never tested for HD. Like I said, this isn't something common that people just come into, a random blood drawing place to get a test like this done. When I went, what was supposed to be a 10-15 minute appointment turned into an hour and a half. I had to sign all this paperwork, like saying I understand what it means to get this test. I understand what the results might say. Um, she was on the phone back and forth a lot. It took her a couple times to get my blood. I think she pricked me 3 different times. And then I finally got to go home. I felt really great about leaving. Like I said, it was a little difficult because I didn't tell anybody I was going through this. So the emotions leading up were really, really tough. So a couple weeks are going by. I haven't heard anything. Every little thing that you do, like I would trip, I would misplace my phone, I would repeat myself or forget a thought, and I was like, oh, I'm positive, I have Huntington's disease. You during that process, it's really tough because you don't know what's going on. So, like I said, a couple weeks went by, um, and then I finally got a call from the doctor's office where she called and said, your results are in, and I need you to come in and have do new patient paperwork. So in that moment, I remember I was at work at my desk, and I just knew at that point, I knew I had it. Why would I have to come in for new patient paperwork if all I was doing was coming in for results? If I didn't have HD, why would I have to be a patient? So the lady on the phone, the nurse, was trying to tell me that I couldn't come in for a couple weeks for my results. The doctor didn't have any appointments open. And I kept telling her, I'm like, I need to come in. I don't care where I have to go. I need to come in. I need to come in. I need to come in. So she finally was able to get me in another office, about an hour, a little over an hour from where I live. I had my boyfriend and my dad come with me. My dad drove. I'm pretty sure we just met at my dad's house, and he drove us there. And we're sitting there. We waited over 45 minutes just to be seen. And I was the first appointment at like 7:30 in the morning, so that was really rough. And then we get into her office, and she goes, I have to tell you some bad news. Unfortunately, you've tested positive with Huntington's disease. You have a repeat of 43. So the wording was already weird, but from that moment, I can't tell you what else happened. I know what happened, but it was such a blur and like an overwhelming feeling that I didn't know what was going on. I remember just kind of, you see on TV when people get devastating news like that, where they just everything around them just goes like babble. And that's literally what happened. So she came over, she decided to do a cognitive test, she pulled my limbs, she did my knees, a reaction test, all these tests, neurological tests. She had me draw a clock, she had me draw a shape, she had me, I think that, I don't know, there was a bunch of tests that I really don't remember. And I remember after I did it, this was 5 minutes after I got my test results that I tested positive for Huntington's. She told me that I failed my test. She told me that I'm gonna have symptoms way before my mom because my repeats one higher than my mom. She told me that the left side of my body is already lagging because I'm a diabetic, so I have nerve damage, and because of that, that's gonna make it worse for um, my Huntington's disease. um, it was a mess. It was a mess. It was the most traumatizing experience that I've ever had in my life. And the crazy thing about it was I didn't know that it was so bad until I finally talked to somebody in the Huntington's disease field. When I talked to Dr. Susky and the social worker Tammy from Western PA HCSA chapter and told them what happened. And when I went in to see Dr. Susky with my mom, she tested me right there and she's like, we can do this every year if you want. I don't think it's necessary right now. You're perfectly fine. I'm not sure what this woman told you. And like I said, for my mom, how she felt, that's how I felt going eventually to the Center of Excellence. But my testing process was not great. I know I'm not the only person who's had experiences like this, and it's scary. It's tough to hear things. It's even harder to hear things after you hear the right way of going through it. Trying to just comprehend the trauma and the emotion and the stress and the anxiety that you had to go to through because it was done this way when it should have been done that way. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a really big advocate for talking about my story. I talk about it a lot, so if you've heard it multiple times, I apologize. I just want to make sure that people going through the process, thinking about going through the process, you know, understand way, what the good way, what the right way is to do this. Thankfully, I had my dad and my boyfriend with me, my support system, so they were definitely there for me. But what was tough about that too was they also didn't really know too much about Huntington's because I got my results in January and my mom tested that October before, like the prior October. So it was kind of back to back. It was my mom and then me. And it also was really rough because I realized that my daughter is now at risk for Huntington's disease, and any other children I have that 50-50 chance of obtaining my positive gene. So IVF started to go through, a lot happened after getting my results. So when it came to my mom, I wasn't going to tell my mom right away. She just found out about her positive results. It was a lot. It was a lot on our family. It was new. It was scary. So I wasn't going to tell her. I remember I was driving past Kennywood, and I couldn't go to my mom's appointment with her doctor for some reason. I think my sister and my nana might have taken her. And I remember her calling me really, 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 really upset. Like, what did you tell the doctor? She told me that your daughter, her boyfriend, and her dad came to see me. I think you need to talk to your daughter about why, all this stuff. So the doctor told my mom that I went to go see her, but didn't tell her why. So she already violated HIPAA. So I'm upset. I'm crying. I'm stressed. I'm driving, a lot's going on. And I just end up telling her, I said, Mom, I tested positive for HD. I hung up. That's not how I wanted to tell my mom. I felt like that was taken from me. It was stolen from me. Because that was something that I realized it was going to be tough on my mom. It's not like we knew HD was in our family. It's not like we knew we had the chance of having something like this in our DNA. And for her just to find out she tested positive and understand that all of your children have a 50-50 chance of having the gene, that it was not the right time. And my mom already being symptomatic at this point, like pretty symptomatic. So it was just a terrible experience. I ended up calling the hospital she worked for, the practice. I ended up reporting her to the president for violating HIPAA. I sent letters. I talked with, Jennifer with the NYA. And after she heard my story and things, we were able to get in touch with whoever runs the website after my story to explain, I don't want anybody else to go through what I went through. We actually were able to take the doctor off of the website as a provider, because my experience, I couldn't imagine having somebody else go through the trauma and anxiety and the pain, that I had to. I think I'm a pretty strong person, and I'm not happy, but I'm thankful that that experience was me and not my siblings. I I'm a strong person. I have been through a lot. And it was just another, little chip on my shoulder added to it. But I'm thankful and happy that hopefully this won't happen to somebody else in the care of this doctor. And like I said, this is why I talk about my story, because it's a lot. It is definitely a lot. Um, if you have any questions about my testing process, I try to go into as much detail as I can. If you have personal questions, please ask me. If you have any, remarks, any comments, anything like that, let me know. Um, yeah, so that's how I found out. I have a repeat of 43. I got my test results on January 16th of 2017. This is the first year I ended up actually acknowledging my test results. I'm going to do a later video on that. Um, but that's the day my results came in, and, I found out. Um, so with that being said, the project that I'm working on kind of coincides with just my feelings. Like I said, this is the first year that I'm acknowledging my test result date. Um, and kind of just made me want to do something special, you know, um, not just for me, because it's sometimes hard, and sometimes HD can put you in a dark place where I feel like I'm completely alone. When I found out this year that like a lot of the retreats were just going to be canceled, and the convention was going to go virtual, and I wasn't going to be able to be there with my ohana, it kind of took me to not a great place. It's the one time or the 3, 4 times out of the year that I get to be around people that I love, who know what I'm feeling. That, I remember talking about one story at one of my first events, and I was waiting for the reaction. And instead of the reaction, I got, oh, my mom does that. My dad does the same thing. And it's like a feeling you've never had before. So when I kind of came out of that place, just being depressed and upset, I kind of felt, well, what do I need to do to make myself feel better? With May coming up, and what can I do just to show people that your loved ones and people in your life care about you. So I'm going to put that together. Like I said, if you want to be in it, please let me know. Super quick, super simple. Let me know in the comments. Let me know on Instagram. But yeah, like I said, May is HD Awareness Month. So anything that you can do, if you wear purple, blue, that's the colors. Just tag HDSA, tag HDSA NYA in your things. Donate to HDSA, always or HDYO, any of the organizations. Um, post a small video about Huntington's disease, whatever it takes. Like I said, my goal here is to advocate and, share experience. So, thank you all for watching, and I'll be back soon. Thank you.